Minutes ago, the Indiana Health Department released the newest numbers of COVID-19 cases in the state. There are now 28,705 positive test results, 1,678 deaths. Governor Eric Holcomb's next update is tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. And Kentucky currently has 7,935 positive COVID-19 cases, 346 deaths. More than 2,700 people have recovered in the Commonwealth. Governor Beshear will release new case numbers at 5 today. Kentucky is expanding its coronavirus testing capacity and contact tracing programs. Governor Beshear announced the state is hiring 700 workers and developing an online program. Public health workers will reach out to anyone who tests positive for COVID-19 and ask who they've been in direct contact with. Then they'll notify those contacts, alerting them and monitoring their condition. The former CEO of Passport Health will oversee the program.
We're going to need to reopen the economy. I completely agree with the efforts to do that. Too many people are hurting.
The program could cost more than $100 million and will be funded with federal dollars provided by the CARES Act. 2 more children in Kentucky are now diagnosed with a rare inflammatory illness tied to the coronavirus. A 5-year-old is home after being treated at the hospital, and an 11-year-old is currently hospitalized. Previously, Governor Beshear told us about a 10 and 16-year-old who contracted the illness. The teen is recovered while the 10-year-old boy is improving in the ICU. The symptoms can include a fever, abdominal pain, rash, and swelling in the hands or feet.
This is essentially a situation where weeks after the child would have gotten over the initial infection, their immune system becomes overactive and attacks the blood vessels in their own body and causes a number of problems.
Indiana is now reporting its first case of the inflammatory syndrome. However, health officials declined to provide any additional information about the child. Today, President Trump is launching a new food program called the Farmers to Families Food Box. This comes as he's taking other steps in response to the coronavirus pandemic. Skylar Henry brings us more from the White House.
President Trump is announcing the government will buy $3 billion of dairy, meat, and produce from farmers and ranchers to help feed families in need. Congress authorized the money in March as part of a coronavirus relief package. Tuesday morning, senators questioned Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin about how the administration is distributing the money.
Am I right that you're not requiring companies to use the money they borrow to keep their workers on the payroll?
Mr. Senator, I am following what was the exact letter and spirit of the law that we negotiated with you and others on a bipartisan basis.
President Trump is expected on Capitol Hill this afternoon for a meeting with Senate Republicans as they discuss whether future coronavirus relief packages are needed.
We're going to look at the numbers and assess what we think is necessary and not necessary.
Monday, the president also announced he is taking the drug hydroxychloroquine to help protect himself from the coronavirus.
I was just waiting to see your eyes light up when I said this, but, when I announced this. But, yeah, I've taken it for about a week and a half now, and I'm still here.
The president says he consulted with his doctor after an aide tested positive for COVID-19.
I asked him, what do you think? He said, well, if you'd like it. I said, yeah, I'd like it.
The FDA warned last month that hydroxychloroquine should not be used outside of a hospital setting, warning of serious heart rhythm problems in patients with COVID-19. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The president's physician sent a memo late Monday saying the 2 men concluded the potential benefit from the treatment outweighed the relative risks, but did not confirm the president's actually taking the medication. Today, the White House press secretary said the president himself is taking it. Indiana's Notre Dame University is making changes to the upcoming semester. The campus in South Bend will reopen to students on August 10th. That's 2 weeks earlier than originally scheduled. Officials say masks will be required. Testing and contact tracing will also be a part of the reopening. There won't be a fall break, and the semester will end before Thanksgiving. In an announcement, the change, Notre Dame did not address plans for the school's athletics program.
high levels of
Local family therapists joined Mayor Greg Fisher to talk about mental health during this pandemic. Mayor Fisher hosts Facebook Live town halls several mornings during the week. This morning, they spoke about the concerns and fears people could have as they go back to work, along with the stress, anxiety, and grief they're already dealing with.
Initially, they have concern, stress, panic, and then they start to level off because they find a new rhythm, they find a new way of being, and that feels comfortable. And then, as you mentioned, we're in 2.5 months now. I noticed a lot of people, when we kind of hit that 6-week mark, started shifting into looking at this as maybe a longer-term thing, that it's going to affect their lives longer, and seeing that panic or the anxiety start to rise a little bit.
And Mayor Fisher is set to give an update on the city's response to COVID-19 tomorrow afternoon. WLKY viewers and corporate donors continue to step up in a big way in our effort to help feed local families. And today we have more exciting news to share. The Allstate Foundation is giving a $20,000 donation as a grant to the Dare to Care Food Bank for agents' volunteerism. Thank you so much to Allstate Foundation for this generous gift. This donation brings the amount raised in our virtual food drive to more than $325,000. That's enough money to provide more than 977,000 meals. If you want to be a part of it, you can still donate by using the WLKY mobile app or by texting the words Dare to Care to 56651. Tonight, Churchill Downs will again recognize the class of 2020. Each night, the twin spires are lit in the colors of local high schools. Last night, the spires were red. Tonight, they'll be lit in blue in honor of grads from 18 local schools. Images of the spires, along with tributes to each school, are posted on their social media. The tributes will continue through Friday night.
And Monica, taking a look at the backside of Churchill Downs, things are trending a little bit drier right now, but still a little on the cooler side. 68 degrees, partly sunny skies out there. Now, at the rain, as far as rain goes, we're not going to be dried out completely. There is a chance we could have a few scattered showers for most of the viewing area, a little bit more steady off to our far east. We'll talk about when we'll finally dry out and warm up coming up.
90,000 American lives have been lost as the nation begins to reopen. I'm Michael George with how the new normal is being carried out in different states.
New at noon, the Jeffersonville City Council president is now charged with DUI. Matt Owen was stopped around 3 a.m. for speeding in downtown Jeffersonville. According to Owen's attorney, he failed a field sobriety test, then submitted a breathalyzer test at the Clark County Jail. Jeffersonville Mayor Mike Moore issued a statement this morning in reaction to Matt Owen's arrest. It reads, quote, "I have spoken with Matt. He regrets his actions and realizes he made a poor decision," end quote.